Hi everybody, and welcome to HighRoad Solutions One-Stop Demo Series. Today we're going to be talking about HubSpot forms and landing pages. I'm Lisa Campo, and I'm a HighRoad MarTech consultant. I've been with HighRoad for about 10 months. It'll be a year in the end of January. And I manage projects here, create content, and I'm also the go-to HubSpot consultant, so I work a lot on our HubSpot projects, including training our new clients on HubSpot. Previously, I worked in digital content writing, editing, and marketing for associations for about 4 years. And then before that, I was a news copy editor and designer, and that's what my degree's in. So I've transitioned over to the marketing and technology side of things. If you have any questions for me about this demo today, you can email me at lcampo@highroadsolution.com, or you can tweet at me at HighRoadLisa. And I'm fairly active on Twitter, so you can find me either an email or Twitter, pretty much the same. Okay. So we're going to talk about, like I said, landing pages and forms. And we're going to start with landing pages because that's where you're going to place forms. Right now I'm in the HubSpot, or I'm in the HighRoad HubSpot portal. So we're just going to do everything through HighRoad, and I'll be able to show you how this works. To access the landing pages, you just go under Content to Landing Pages. Generally, you will have a landing page template created for you already, and you'll just go to Create a New Landing Page. We're not going to talk about how to create a landing page template right now. We're just going to show you how it works, because template creation is a whole separate animal that we're not going to be covering in this particular demo. Okay, so let's pick a landing page. As you can see, they're all laid out here. Let's pick a landing page that we can customize here. Okay, so as you can see, our landing pages are pretty specific because we build new ones for everything, or every different product that we have. And I'm going to use this one because I know it's an older one that I can kind of play with. So, landing page demo. So you type the name of the page right here and then press create. And if you want, you can also preview the template, hide this template, or add to favorites. So here's where you would go in and customize your landing page. Right now you can customize the text here. You just click on it and type in what you want to put. So we can just do testing for demo. If you want to make it go for demo. And here we'd put in some interesting text about what the offer is. And here's where we would put in a description of what exactly you were getting. This is the actual form, and here's the submit button for the form. This is where you would ask the questions that you want to ask. If it's a first touch, you would just have the main questions, such as first name, last name, and email. Those are the absolute necessities that you need. In HubSpot, you always need an email address to create a record, so to create a contact, and everything else is sort of secondary. But in this case, you definitely want to get first and last name if you can. So this is just sort of how the forms work. You can also preview how your form looks in different device types, this is a similar offering to other areas of HubSpot, such as the blog, the emails, pretty much any kind of content you can preview. You can preview as a specific contact. You can share a preview. So if you're for example, creating a landing page for a sponsor or you're co-sponsoring and they want to see it before it goes live, you can share a preview. Here we can see how this would look on mobile. And then it also gives you some, once you input your keywords, what your landing page is about. So let's just say marketing automation is what it's about. We've already got this in here. It tells you, come on, there we go. If you hover over what it's telling you to do, it'll actually bring you right there, which is why it was pulling us over to our settings. So this is where you would make sure you filled out your meta description, your URL, make sure there are keywords in your URL and meta description. It gives you lots of suggestions so your landing page is the most internet and SEO friendly it can be, and also just user friendly. Okay, so, and again, right here it says keywords are not repeated too many times in the content body. Right now we don't have a lot of content there, but it's telling us that, you know, we didn't use marketing automation a whole bunch of times, which would kind of mark it as a little bit spammy. And those are just, this is just a great way to optimize your page. This is for the template, which is a pretty simple template, but we're not going to get into that right now. I just want to let you know that it's here. We can also look at the settings of the landing page, and you would go ahead and have an internal page name and then a page title, which would be what comes up right here where I'm pointing at the top of the tab. You can also customize your URL, and then you put in your meta description here, and as it says, it has to be under 160 characters. You'd also add or select a campaign, whichever campaign this was for. So let's see. Just put under HighRoad U. That's not a campaign we use right now, but I know it's an older one. You can also do things like put in some Google Analytics, edit the footer HTML. You can password protect. You can set the page to expire at a certain date and time, and then when it does expire, you can redirect to a different page. So let's just say this offer is only available for 30 days. If someone tries to go to this page after that, they would be redirected to a page of your choosing or an external URL, so maybe redirect back to your home page, although I recommend send them to a similar offer or a page that explains that the offer is expired. So this shows what template we're using, and you can actually swap out templates. And these are all style settings that if you were the marketer creating this, you would not be worrying about this. It would be more of a designer issue. You can also create an A/B test for landing pages, just like you can do for emails. And you have to create another variation of your landing page and then change, you know, whatever you wanted on there so you could figure out, here, let's just do it so I can explain it to you. And this is just like in the HubSpot email tool where you can switch variations. So right now we're in the A version, which is the main version. B would be the alternate version. And here's where you would go ahead and change whatever it is that you wanted to see, if it would affect if people download it, you know, if you're giving more information right here or less information. So let's just see, like let's just say if you take out the image right here. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but in case you kind of wanted to show to maybe your boss or to someone higher up that images really do have an effect, you could take the image out just to see what happens there. Okay. All right, so then you're going to have to name your, exit this out, then you'll have to name your second variation and also have a meta description, page title, etc. exact, exact options that you had for the other one. And then you can go back to your A when you're finished doing that, and you make sure you fill out everything for both of them. Okay. So now this way, I want to make sure here. I want to make sure we can publish this so I can show you how it works. And then I'll just unpublish it. You can actually publish this now, or you can schedule for later. In case you're finished with this already. Hey, great, you're ahead of time. You get everything scheduled. You get the go-ahead from everyone who's involved. You could say this needs to publish at a specific time. So say your email about this, promoting this is going out at, this Friday at 10 a.m. You probably want to publish this at, Friday at 9 a.m. just so it'll be published and you can check on it before that email goes out. Right now we're just going to publish. Here I have to do a couple settings first. Okay, demo 1. And you can see it's putting that into the page URL, the description. Adding that here. And I'm taking that expiration date and time off because we're not doing that. I also want to go over to B and make sure I have a title for that, or it will not let me publish. Oh, demo. Okay. So this is just, I'm just using dummy text here, but you would have to actually describe the product and put in keywords that apply to it. We're going to go back to the A variation. And I'm going to go ahead and publish. Okay, so here's where you're going to see all the analytics for your landing page. And again, this looks similar to email analytics that you get from HubSpot. Basically anything you publish, like a blog post. So it's going to tell you here, landing page demo 1 is our title. It says what form and what campaign it's in, what layout we're using, etc. Okay, so here it's going to tell you things like the views, the submission, if you got any new contacts from this page, and if anybody became a customer from this page. Okay, so this is for SEO optimization, and this is more in-depth, I think, than we're going to go in this particular demo. But you can see if you use specific keywords that are already in your HubSpot portal, it's going to tell you which keywords ranked here. It's going to talk about who linked to your page. So say someone wrote a blog and they linked to your page saying it was a good resource, it'll tell you that is an inbound link. It tells you about CTAs on your page, which we don't have any right now. And then it talks about internal links, links to page and links from page. So here you can see the variation in your A/B testing. And so once you're going to have to go in and review this if you want to choose a winner from it. So basically, if there are more people submitting, a significant number of people who are submitting on the main page as opposed to the variation, which is where we took out the image, you would want to choose this as the winner, okay? But if the variation is actually doing better, you would choose that one as the winner. And once you choose a winner, only that version will be shown to people from then on. Okay, so we're going to go back into this and edit it so we can continue on with our demo. And I wanted to point out one extra thing that you can do to kind of make this customized. So right here, and you'll see this a lot in HubSpot, it's a little circle with some squares in there. It's the Smart Content label. So when you click this, that means your block here can be customized, can be basically smart content and customized to the user who's reading it. And it looks like all of these are already customized, but let's go on here and see. So I guess that wasn't customized. It looked like it was orange, but I guess not. So you can customize by country, device type. I find device type is definitely helpful because if you want certain people to have, or if you don't have time to design for mobile, or if you want mobile users to see something different or less text or something like that, anything, you can just do it by device type. You can also do it by referral source. So if it's coming from, your sponsor, you can show people something a little different. Country is a big one. I was just speaking to one of my clients about how they like to change up the language if people are coming from where they speak the Queen's English, because they spell things, a little bit differently than we do in America. So places like Canada and England and Australia. You can also show content based on contact list membership or life cycle stage. And again, the life cycle stage is deeper than this demo goes, but contact list membership just means if someone's on a certain list, you can make sure they see something different than everyone else. So in this one, let's just do country to do an example, and let's do United Kingdom. So in this, so people from the United Kingdom will see content I specify with this rule. So that means basically, so right here it says testing for demo. I'm actually going to take the whole source, well, that's easy source code. I'm going to take all the source code right here and place it in here so we'll have the same thing. And let's just say something like testing for demo for UK demo. So if you were coming in from the UK and it could tell by your IP address and location that you were in the UK, it would show you this text at the top, whereas everyone else would just get this regular testing for demo text. And it'll show you right here, manage smart rules. Okay, so that is all I'm going to show you about landing pages today. I'm going to save this, and then we're going to go look at forms. And forms are really exciting, especially when you get into things like personas and progressive profiling and workflows, because this can really help you place people where they need to be and find out what they're interested in and what they really want from your association. Okay, so this also allows smart content, but right now we are just going to edit the form. So when you're hovering over the form right here, you can go ahead and edit it by clicking on it. You can also edit this, let me get out of this real quick. You can also edit it by going to Contacts and Forms, and there you can see a list of forms and you can edit within there. So there's multiple ways to get to it. But here we're going to go to edit the form. So the form's called Landing Page Webinar Demo. It looks like someone's used this as a demo before. And here, let's leave it there. You can actually give the form a title, which is generally an internal title. Usually you'll redirect to a thank you page, which is what it says right here. And then you'll choose, what that thank you page is. So let's just say the State of Digital Marketing Download would be the thank you page for this one. Some cool things you can do with forms is if you know there's only going to be, not an insane amount of people submitting and you want it to have a very personalized response, you can send form notifications to specific email addresses like people at your association so they can reach out to those people, Or you can actually send a follow-up automated email once somebody submits a form, like thank you for submitting this form. If you're interested in this, you might be interested in our other options, etc. You can add this to a workflow to where if someone fills out the specific form, they'll be drafted into a workflow that then moves them into either a different spot or a different life cycle stage, or gives them certain points if you're trying to do lead gen, that kind of thing. So there's a ton you can do here with forms. So let's go ahead and edit this form, and I will show you how you can do sort of the progressive profiling that I was talking about. So this is the internal name that we've already created, landing page webinar demo. The submit button text, you can say, send or submit. Usually we just use submit. Okay, so there's currently 4 submissions. We can actually go and it's going to open a new page and it's going to show us those submissions. Okay, while that's loading, I'm going to come back over here. All right, so this is already set up a little bit for us. What we're going to do here is you can actually drop in different fields. We have many, many fields here at HighRoad. You might have less or you might have more. The fields are, things like first name, last name, email, organization type, your job title or your industry, etc. You choose to pre-populate the fields with known values. That means if somebody has been to your landing pages before and they've filled out fields, it will put their first name, last name, email there. You can choose whether or not you want to put a CAPTCHA on the form to prevent spam. You don't want to disable cookie tracking, so don't do that. So when it's disabled, every submission from the same browser creates a new contact. I can see how there would be situations in which you'd want to do that, but you wouldn't run into it very often. HubSpot runs off of tracking people's cookies and IPs, so it's kind of important not to do that. You can also choose to embed this form on a different website. You can copy the snippet to put into that code. This is a little more advanced, but in case you wanted to do that, I can't think of any reason why you'd want to right now, because you wouldn't get the analytics that you really want, but it's an option. Okay, so let's go back to fields and let me show you what all of this means. So right now we've got the first name, as you saw when we looked at it, looked at the landing page. You can edit the field options here. You can edit dependent fields. So you can show or hide fields that are dependent on the first name field based on these rules. So if the first name is equal to Lisa, then show a different field. And this wouldn't apply for first name, but this is just another, you can add rules and do a couple of different things. So if the company, let's just say what we're asking here is how many employees do you have? So if the company has more than 50 employees, then show this specific field or something like that. So you can do a lot of customization here. You can, remove this field, and you don't delete the field if you remove it. It just goes back into this field pool that we have over here. Right here, this is making the field required, okay? And this actually makes the field smart, which means it doesn't show up if the person has already been here and filled it out. So if I click this, it means if I already put in Lisa Campo into HighRoad, it's not going to show me that I've filled that out already. It's going to go straight to the next questions. These are the queued questions. So they replace your smart rows, and it shows you the little smart symbol. Get used to that. Above in the order that you choose below. And so what I'm going to do is make all of these smart. So email, obviously email is always going to be required, But if we already have the email address for that person, then we're just going to make all these fields smart, and they won't show up at all if you fill them out. Instead, you can choose to ask more questions of people. And you don't have to make these fields required because they're not required, and you don't want to aggravate people by asking them too many questions, which is why there's only a few here. But you can ask what kind of organization are you? So here, let's go in and edit that field option. So what's your organization? This internal label is what's your organization type. And you can choose things like, association management, federation of association, a professional or trade association, if you're a consultant, etc. And then you can add or remove property options. You can talk about, we're asking for your industry here, and we're definitely, I know we always ask for job title when we're trying to do progressive profiling. And all of this helps later when you are doing personas, when you're trying to segment better and choose, who's getting what content and who's getting which emails, that sort of thing. Okay, and so this is more for, right here, this is for layout purposes. So you can see here we've got 2 questions on one line. So we've already split it into 2. Here, if we wanted to split it into 2, we could. And I'll just show you how to bring in some other information here. So let's just say you wanted to find out what city they were in. I'm just dragging it over. And you can view the field options by, you can actually enter placeholder text if you want. But it's basically people are just going to have one line to write in, to write in their information. Okay, so there's lots of other things like what department are you in, etc. Okay, so now let's go in, and I want to also note that all of these are fields, okay? They're fields that show up when you go into contacts and look up a contact property. If someone's filled out, more than just their first name, last name, email, those fields will show up and be populated in there. So if I filled all of this out and, you had me as Lisa Campo with my email, and I filled this, you would have my city, what department I'm in, what type of organization, my job title, and my industry. Okay, so I will actually briefly show you where that'll show up. Okay, so we've got a ton. We really do have a ton of things here, but we also do a lot of segmenting and do a lot of workflows and specific lists. So we use HubSpot pretty deeply. And here's another one you may be interested in favorite superhero. I know we've asked that before, and you don't have to. Here, we'll put it down here. Favorite superhero. As you can see, we've only got 3 options here, so I'm not sure what that was for, but obviously you can create whatever you want. Okay, and so I also want to show you how to create a new field. Let's just say you wanted to ask, or there are a few different field types. Let's say you wanted to do multiple, no, let's do a radius select. You can do many, like file upload, single checkbox, single line text. Yeah, let's do the radius select. That one's easiest to show. Okay. So label here would be what, let's just say what AMS do you, better yet, what AMS do you use? And like the internal name you could change it to say AMS, current AMS. We already have a field like this, but I'm just showing you this for, demo purposes. So there you can see we're adding options. So let's think of some of the big association management software systems here. So something like Aptify, you'd add that option. Personify, Avectra, Abila, NetForum, IMIS, and stuff like that. I think I spelled that wrong here. Okay, so you understand what I'm trying to do here. So that way they'd have the choice between, or other. You always want to have other, because these are large, companies doesn't mean that lots of people don't run on different systems. So then you can put this in one of the groups here, and you would obviously put this under, I would say, we have a lot of different, here we go. So the contact's company info is what you would put this under, I believe. But usually you start out with 5 different groups, and you can expand that, and then you can do an internal description here. Now, I'm not going to save this property because I don't want to add it to HighRoad's properties, but I did want to show you that you can, you can create your own at any time. You can also create your own within the contact section. You can create your own questions, and then once you go to create a field, it will be under here. And you can also search. So current systems, I know, is something that we do, current system. Oh, maybe that's not. Okay, so if you do company, it'll actually show up, everything will show up that has the word company in it. So company name, my company is interested in the following. So you can do a search if you have a whole ton of fields here. All right, so I am going to go back and remember when we're, oh, it looks like it's still loading. We wanted to see view submissions here. Okay. Yeah, so this is an internal, webinar demo. So we've got 14 all-time views, 4 all-time submissions. These are all the people who submitted that particular form. Okay. And you can see that one of them is our CEO, or our CMO, I'm sorry. And so we've got the conversion rate here. And you can create a list from submissions, and you can create a new landing page just, to use this form on. All right, so I'm not going to save yet. I'm not going to save this. Okay. Okay. All right, so like I said, I'm not going to save this form because I don't want to change it up in case anyone is using it here. But I just wanted to show you how that would. Actually, I don't think anyone is using it, so let's go ahead and just update the form. Edit. Okay, so we are going to just, it didn't save our changes because I didn't save them. So we are just going to drag one field over here. Oh, it looks like the fields aren't loading. Okay, never mind, let's just close that one out. And you can also, I didn't mention this before, but you can, do styles for this particular, for your forms, but we have some internal or some style sheets that are governing our forms, so we can't actually change this. You might be able to on your specific design. All right, so I want to show you an example, first of all, of where that field will show up. And I'm going to go to contacts and look up myself to show you. So Lisa Campo. And this is my previous association I worked at, and this is actually me within HighRoad. So as you can see over here, this is where the fields show up. Okay? Now it's going to show, if you go to View All Properties, it hides the blank properties here, and then these are all the things I've filled out previously. I have a persona, I have put my phone number in, everything. They've got my Twitter information, and if we scroll down, let's see. So these are forms I filled out. So when I'm registering for HighRoad events, I'll say I'm in person, subscribe me to party invites. This is yes or no questions about whether I attended these events. And I, wanted to go to the New York City HighRoad Youth Seminar, so I chose that. So these are all fields that I've filled out before in forms. Okay, so I've said email marketing, etc. This is where you would see all the information that you captured. You could also pull that information via lists. That's a whole separate demo as well, which I believe we already have. So you can go into HighRoad U and look for that one. I believe I also wanted to show you real quick how the forms work here. And then we will be done with our demo. I'll show you a real live form in action. Okay. I know I've downloaded this one, so let's go in. Yeah, see, so this is what I talked about with progressive profiling, and some showing up and some not showing up. So it's not asking me for my first name or my last name, even though I'm sure it asks that for people who haven't been here before. It's asking for my email and then my job title, which I've put in before, but this may be a separate field. And then it asks, how would you describe your role in this organization? And I would, choose marketing communications brand manager. Okay, so then I would submit, but keep in mind that if I had never been here before, it would be asking me things like what's your first name, etc. So we'll go to the toolkit of the month so I can show you how that works again. Okay, I guess it's not remembering me this time, but generally it's if we've we're not using progressive profiling in this one. So I just wanted to show you how this can change depending on what fields you put in, what else you want to learn from people. Okay, so I believe that is all for forms and landing pages. If you have any questions on how landing pages or forms work, you can always reach out to me or to anyone else at HighRoad. You can send me an email, and again, my email is lcampo@highroadsolution.com. My Twitter's @HighRoadLisa. So we always have different educational opportunities like this to tell you more about landing pages, different aspects of HubSpot, different aspects of Blue Hornet. So we hope you'll tune in to some of those other ones, and I hope you found this one-step demo about landing pages and forms informative and has given you a little bit more insight as to what you could be using if you decide to go with HubSpot. So thanks for joining us, and I hope y'all have a good day.